Guys, if you remember a few weeks back, I showed you connector kits and I was going to do a review on the tool and everything else at work, put it through its paces. The other thing is these guys have only just opened a shop in the UK, Amazon, crimping tool and the connectors and the such like, which, yeah, actually they're pretty good. So this is what this video will be about, but first I want to tell you about the gun which we've been using in the workshop. I would like to report that it's still working. However, I did find something a bit odd. The battery goes flat if you leave it in the case for too long, so it's supposed to be disconnected. Works all right, no problems. Had a little bit of an issue with a set of landing legs, and yeah, this is what I've been using the gun for basically, or should I say the battery wrench. The legs, of course, on trailers are, or can be, a little bit awkward, especially when you have a cross member in the way and you can't get to the bolts. Yeah, I'll just show you there. This is what I'm talking about. It looks quite easy, you may be able to get your hand around it, but the plate at the bottom was actually quite wide. This was very, very awkward to do. Okay, that's just the nature of the job and what we have to do. But I will report to you, even though the job was awkward, this is what I am exclusively using this battery wrench for, or the battery gun, whatever you want to call it. So it's still working, yeah, and we do, I would say, a set of legs, sometimes twice a week, sometimes once a week, or once every 2 weeks, but I'd say it's been used once a week. Now we also have a care package, a mystery care package, which is next week's video, so I bet you're curious what's in there, aren't you? Alright then, guys and girls, and today we're in the house. Yeah, not in the workshop, but in the house. Behind me you can see a coffee maker with a snap-on hat on. That's to keep the coffee warm. Not really. But anyway, so today we are sponsored by this company here, which they've given us a set of crimpers and a box of connectors to show you. Interesting, because I've learned something and I've found a new product as well, okay? So basically, yeah, what we do is a lot of inline repairs, and I'll show you the butt connector that we generally use is this, the heat shrink butt connector, okay? Things haven't always been like that. We have used all sorts of connectors in the past. You're probably familiar with the stuff that's in this box here, which is really DIY, sort of crappy. I don't like these. They do a job, but they don't work too well. The connectors, you cannot shrink the material, the insulator material, onto the insulated wire part, yeah? Which, okay, it does a job. Everything is there to do a job. But when you have heat shrinks on the ends of the terminals as well, which are in this box, which has been supplied by the company, it's yeah, it's a little bit of a game changer actually, because when you can heat shrink terminals onto a wire, you can then have a little bit more of a tug force with them, which I found quite impressive. I like this. This is good for home stuff and the occasional professional installation. Okay, so yeah, you're probably actually familiar more with these, some of you DIYers. We have used these in the workshop before, but they are quite expensive. They heat shrink with solder, so you can put a solder butt joint onto the wire and then you use the heat shrink to seal it. Okay, so it's simple, very, very simple and effective as well. We always are going to find broken wires or chafed wires. You get a loom like this, for instance, and it's been chafing on something. What happens, it may expose a wire, it then rots, or you find some idiot who's been puncturing wires with a tester. The moisture gets in, it then rots the wire on the inside, and if you have an expensive loom, the best thing to do is actually repair it, yeah? So generally what I do is a lot of butt connector repairs, okay, which is crimp and seal. Yep, it's as simple as that. So crimper you can get, if you don't have one of these and you want one of these, yeah, okay, this is a company that is on Amazon. There are plenty of companies out there, but you need a name that you can concentrate on. So these are the people, CPTEC, okay. It's automotive sealing at the end of the day. Now, at one time, years and years ago, we used to use proper connectors, and they would be this type, okay? And we'd use a crimper, much the same as what we do with Super Seal stuff. This type of crimper, yeah, which is a standard industry really, to provide something like a terminal end, which then you'd have a insulated fitting over the top of it. Land Rover owners will know that. There's plenty of these on older vehicles, but they are more or less redundant. So what we do now is we use Super Seals, yeah. So in this box, Super Seals, you either get 3ers or 2ers. So generally these work really, really well. The failures usually come when moisture does get into the terminal and behind, or the wire where it's not heat sealed. So we do a lot of replacements of these, and it's mainly through damage, stones being thrown up on the wires, or it chafing on something, wearing through. Yeah, so the guys in the industry will know exactly what it is. If you're a DIYer, then you'll come across maybe wiring you need to repair or replace connectors. So the world is your oyster at the end of the day. There isn't just one tool that will do all the jobs, because with the Super Seals and the older brass fittings, you have to wrap the terminal around to get a good mechanical repair or a fit, yeah. Whereas the heat shrink, you compress it, yeah, you compress it with a tool like this, and then you shrink the terminal onto the wiring, which gives you a seal. Now, the biggest problem I've had, which, yeah, I'll just get my lighter out of my pocket. This thing here, okay, this is my heat shrink sealer, okay, which is not the best to use. These burners are not the best, but we use them simply because they're mobile. If you're out somewhere in the yard or on a repair, you can't take an electrical heat gun and seal the connector. And actually, this tool here, I'll just bring it over and show you. This tool here is not the best thing. It's so bulky, but that's what you use. If you're building up a loom, something like that, then that's the best to use, because you get an even heat over the terminal. But we use these. If you look on their description, website, videos and that, they're using heat guns, which they will do because that's the best way to do it. But this is the best alternative, is Blue Flame, and keep it away. It's a gradual shrinking, not a instant heat melt it and that'll do, because what happens, it shrinks away from the metal and then you don't get a seal, which means it's vulnerable and it will very quickly rot. So these things here, which amalgam tape, which we do use from time to time for sealing, it's actually quite good, or electrical tape, yeah, PVC tape, vinyl, yeah. I prefer to use it for repairs, and yes, I did cut my finger today and I have to do a quick repair on that. This is better actually for binding wires, yeah, and you'll find that on a lot of cars actually. They use this wire tape to bind looms together. It's not good for trying to get a waterproof seal, because it won't work. Water will get through and then it will rot the terminal underneath it, okay? So there's a little tip there. Yeah, basically that is it for this information. I really need to show you how to use things like old relay blocks and wiring lamps or anything like that, which involves using a crimper like this, yes, and terminals like that. This in this box here, yeah, which it's old school. It's old school now. But it's still valid for DIYers, for installation work, and for just general repairs. Yeah, you'll be surprised actually. Things pop up, and you have to do something with them. This is why I have such an array of tools. It's something that I've collected over years, and things change over time. So yeah, basically if you're interested in getting some terminals, have a look at their site here. Links will be below. If you can't find anything in the UK, because they're now opening a UK shop, I will give an announcement out on the community on YouTube at some point with a link, and hopefully they'll give us a discount as well. But it's good tools, good connectors, so that's all right. The heat shrink ones I got here are actually Parkside, which only come up once in a blue moon, whereas you can get them off Amazon. There's plenty of companies that do them, but CPTEC are a name to remember. At least then you can go and have a look what other connectors they have. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it, guys and girls. I hope you enjoyed that. Next week we shall open the box and have a look at what's inside the care package, okay, because that is interesting what's in there. But until then, see you later. Take it easy.